Hey you, yeah you. Are you new to government contracting and you've been pursuing service-based contracts via SAM.gov, where you put in countless hours of assembling your team, putting together your responses to those RFPs, only to find out you didn't win, and you're feeling that the system may be slightly rigged against you, and you're just chasing your tail? Well, hey, don't give up. There is a better option, and it's called selling products to the Defense Logistics Agency, better known as the DLA. Hey, I'm the DLA Guru, and I've been in this space for the past 20 years, and I've put together a fantastic YouTube channel that's packed with information and hacks to give you some insight on how to position yourself to sell to the DLA. Take a look at my channel and subscribe today. Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. The DLA Guru is back in the building. Back in the building, yes, indeed, on this illustrious Saturday morning, hailing from Dallas, Texas. Well, I shouldn't say illustrious because it is freezing cold outside. We're getting a lot of sleet and whatnot. We got this winter weather advisory that's gripping the country. And hopefully all of you out there are safe and sound and you have all of the bare, I guess, essentials to survive this winter storm. You make sure you have your batteries in case you lose power. That way you can have your flashlights as well as your candles, and plenty of water and food in order to sustain yourself, and blankets for the most part. But it seems like here in Dallas, we're not doing so bad this Saturday morning, but hey, we still got the evening and then moving on into tomorrow. So hopefully you guys are safe and sound out there. Yes, I have power. So luckily, you know, the show must go on, even though we got the winter storm out there. So for those of you who are out there or chiming in, welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you guys had an opportunity to hang out with the DLA Guru today. As you guys probably seen from the thumbnail and the title, today I have an action-packed presentation. We're going to be talking a little bit about the DLA's annual report from 2025, fiscal year 2025. I think it's a great opportunity to get a little bit of a snapshot, an official opportunity, I should say, to get a snapshot as to who the DLA is and how the DLA works and how much money the DLA spends. And so today is your day to sit back, relax, and take a look at the annual report from my perspective, being a seasoned DLA vendor. As well, today is our regularly scheduled bi-monthly live stream that's dedicated to my Brigadier General member community here on YouTube and my Patreon member community. Those are folks that have graduated from any of my training programs who are over in the Patreon community. Well, we all form like Voltron. We get together and we do closed circuit training these Saturday mornings, again, bi-monthly. So pinned to the comment section, you'll see a link if you would like to join us and upgrade your subscription to the illustrious Brigadier General here on YouTube. Feel free to click that link, and what that does, it gets you full access to a complete catalog of closed circuit trainings that we've been doing for the past couple of years. There's a wealth of information where you'll get to meet DLA vendors, take a look at some secret content as it relates to figuring out your trajectory for success with doing business with the DLA. That's all in that members only community. Highly recommend that you guys consider upgrading your subscription to that and be able to closed circuit. You can meet us over here in StreamYard, where we'll be talking anything and everything related to the DLA, talking DLA national stock numbers. We're going to be talking about vendor development. We're going to be talking about networking and ways in order to help empower and inspire you for success with the DLA. So that's what that's all about today. Looks like we got 2 concurrent viewers in the building. Fantastic, fantastic. Feel free to use the comment section to throw some shout outs out there. Let me know where you're hailing from, if you are doing well. And if you are in states like California or in Florida where you're not getting any of this winter weather, it'd be good to know exactly where you guys may be hailing from. So feel free to drop that in the chat. I love the engagement. All right, so cool. Moving on. So today, you guys are here today because you saw the thumbnail and you're like, okay, what is this annual report all about? And again, the fiscal year 2025 annual report, I think is really important to understand exactly who the DLA is. And I think it's a great way to gain access to that. And for those of you who are joining me today, I will be dropping the link to the annual report in the chat, where you can download a copy of it to your device, and that way you'll have it for your archives as well. just make it a little easier for you to gain access to it. All right, cool. And again, for my closed circuit training today, the closed circuit topic, we're going to be talking a lot about setting achievable bidding goals as it relates to doing business with the DLA, because just like the lottery, where you have to play the lottery to win, because if you don't play, you never have a chance of winning. Well, the DLA is kind of similar. Well, actually, any business is similar. You got to get involved and you got to bid. You have to bid and bid often to win with the DLA. So we're going to be talking a little bit about ways that you can set these goals and have some consistency about bidding against DLA solicitations in order to increase your chances to win and get your piece of the federal contracting pie with the Defense Logistics Agency. So that's what we'll be talking about today, the closed circuit training. But for those of you who are new to me and new to my content, my name is Kiwi Hendricks. I am the U.S. Government Sales Manager with the National Material Supply Company. We have been servicing the U.S. government through federal contracting by way of the DLA for the past 20 plus years. And I've coined the name the DLA Guru for more reasons than one. Yes, because I have bumped my head, skinned my knee enough to know what not to do. And I am here to be of service to you, to just shed all that information, all those that experience from a consulting perspective to assist you with your success with the DLA. So you don't have to make the same mistakes I made, basically. All right, cool. And you can see the logo that's on screen, the DVN, the DLA Vendor Network. I have been breathing life into this new organization for the past year or so. And it's basically a network that I had this vision of just a community that, again, I didn't have when I first got involved with the DLA. But I said, hey, it may be great to kind of put a framework, a structure around an actual network of vendors who are dedicated to helping the DLA along its mission in order to support the U.S. government by way of the U.S. military and all of government. All right. And so within the DVN, we foster an environment of teamwork and trust, bringing businesses together to collaborate on projects, share resources, and pursue common goals in a safe, ethical network. Through continuous business development guidance, specialized training, and a commitment to integrity and excellence, the DVN enables all of its members to manage risk, build lasting partnerships, and reach new heights in the DLA contracting arena. So that's what we're doing over here. So I highly, highly recommend you take a look at my catalog. I got a lot of what I call YouTube University content, over 350 videos in my catalog. You can sit back and relax and learn a lot about what it's like to be a DLA vendor. So again, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Thank you. And if you like to engage with me, because it looks like I got some engagement already that's coming in there. So thank you for the engagement that I see in the chat there. But if you're interested in engaging with me via the chat during my presentation, feel free to hit that subscribe button, because you must be a subscriber in order to drop a comment. And by all means, hit that like button and share this content to friends, family, and loved ones, and other business colleagues, to let them know that, hey, you got this brother out here in the YouTube University, in these here YouTube streets, that's just shedding a lot of knowledge and a lot of love as it relates to empower and inspiring you for success with government contracting through the Defense Logistics Agency. And by all means, hit that notification bell, because you don't want to be a day late or a dollar short as I drop relevant content designed to empower you for success with the DLA. Okay, cool. So now that that's all out the way, you guys are here to learn a little bit about this DLA annual report and what some of my key takeaways are. Now, the annual report has about 38 pages in it, and we're not going to go through all 38 pages. I've just extracted a few of those pages that I think are what I say low-hanging fruit, are the biggest highlights of why the DLA is a fantastic customer for you guys to get to know. And so what we'll be doing, let me kind of give you a little idea of what that annual report looks like. And so you can see on screen there, that's the opening page of the DLA's annual report. And I really like the message from the director, Lieutenant General from the U.S. Army, Mark Simmerly. So he is the head honcho over there at the DLA. And when I read his address here, the thing that kind of grabbed my attention was this paragraph here. He talks a little bit about the DLA strategic plan, that they have a 5-year strategic plan. And they said their strategic plan is they are strengthening and leveraging the defense industrial base. So again, as DLA vendors, we are part of the defense industrial base, all right, across all 9 supply chains. A commercial price benchmarking analysis ensured our material support for the services remains in line with or better than commercial. We laid the foundation for integrated supply chain strategies that will drive readiness and responsiveness in fiscal year 2026. So the reason why I highlight that paragraph there, because the DLA understands that we, as far as the vendors, we are the foundation for DLA success. We are the industrial base. Without us, the DLA cannot function. It cannot do what it does as far as the DLA's mission in providing products, namely products and support of the U.S. military and other government agencies. And we're going to be, again, highlighting a lot of that within this annual report, which I think, again, annual reports are fantastic. As a matter of fact, annual reports are with any type of organization, especially in the public sector. Like if you're thinking about investing in stocks and bonds and whatnot, I always recommend for folks that I consult with as it relates to investing in the capital markets to always take a look at the annual report for those particular companies that you may be interested in investing in, because the annual report is going to give you a snapshot of who that organization is, what their principles are all about, and if it aligns to what your goals are to make money with that organization and supporting that organization to make money. So when I look at the DLA, I look at them very similarly, because you want to look at this organization to see if it's something that you want to invest in. And investing, not necessarily buying stock, but investing is creating a business around supporting the DLA with their mission, because if the DLA does well, guess what? Money comes in and flows down to guess who? Yes, the industrial base. So the annual report is always a good starting point, especially if you're new to the DLA and you want to learn a little bit more about who this potential customer could be for you. So you can see on the screen there, we got the table of contents. And again, it's just a lot of, they chop it up into a lot of chunks, but the areas that we're going to be talking about today is the DLA's overview, the Defense Logistics Agency's overview, as well as their fiscal year 2025 financial overview and the additional DLA support. So I highly recommend you guys kind of hang out with the DLA Guru, because we're going to be doing a deep dive into that particular in those sections of this annual report. And again, toward the end of this presentation, I'll drop the link where you can also download the annual report to your own personal library on your computer as well. All right, cool. So again, we're talking about annual report, my key takeaways. The first thing that I think is really important from the annual report that the DLA does a good job at highlighting, or again, giving you a summary, is the DLA's business structure. Because again, they're a government agency, but hey, money is changing hands. Services are happening, value is being created within the DLA. And the biggest thing about business is to make money. You're in business to make money, and the DLA is also making money. And you'll understand that a little bit more when we dive into the actual presentation here. So there are 6 major subordinate commands that make up the DLA's business structure. And this is broken down into 3 regional commands as well. All right. So this is highlighted within this within the annual report. So we'll go ahead and dive into that and kind of break that down a little bit. So as far as the 6 subordinate major commands, or the major subordinate commands, these are broken down into these chunks here. They highlight DLA Energy, DLA Aviation, DLA Land and Maritime, DLA Distribution, DLA Troop Support. And I'm going to just put a little feather on Troop Support, because we're going to really do a little bit of deeper dive into who this particular command is, as well as DLA Disposition Services. So again, you can see on screen there, all these 6 major subordinate commands. They support all of the U.S. military from every angle that you can think. So from DLA Energy, again, they're doing global fuel and comprehensive energy solutions. So if you think about gas and oil and things of that nature, just anything energy related, as well as even power grid. They do things with electricity and getting electricity where it needs to go in support of the U.S. military. DLA Aviation. DLA Aviation, they're based out of Richmond, Virginia, as you see on screen there. They focus mainly on repair parts for aviation and nuclear systems, maps, and industrial plant equipment. So they buy a lot of that type of equipment in order to support the U.S. military, as well as DLA Land and Maritime, based out of Columbus, Ohio. They do repair parts for ground-based and maritime systems, meaning that anything that crawls on the land or floats on the sea or goes under the sea, DLA Land and Maritime Command is tasked with the responsibility for managing that. And actually last year, 4th quarter of last year, there was an announcement that DLA Land DLA Aviation and DLA Land and Maritime have merged underneath DLA Weapon Systems. All right, so that's going to be kind of a new command, and you may, if you're getting involved with the DLA, you may get emails from contract officers that say DLA Weapon Systems, and you're like, what is this Weapon Systems? So that's what that's all about. They're just trying to find ways to streamline their internal processes to make it easier for us to engage with them and us to support. As when I say us, the industrial base to support the DLA. All right, and DLA distribution and DLA disposition services, in my opinion, those are more service-based opportunities to work with the DLA, where DLA distribution is about moving products to and fro. DLA disposition services is about demilitarization of assets that are no longer, that have been taken offline. They're no longer, in duty. And so they have to basically pull out proprietary systems like, let's say, radar systems and things like that. If you kind of think about Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the 80s when he was driving around LA in one of those Army Humvees, that was one that you didn't go down to your local dealership to buy. Of course, his was straight from the government, and so they had to go in, of course, and do the DLA. But Arnold Schwarzenegger got so much money, he probably did have a radar system in his vehicle. But anyway, so that's what DLA disposition services does. And then DLA troop support, they focus on global supply chain, subsistence, clothing, textiles, construction equipment, and medical. And keep in mind, I put a little feather as to why you want to highlight DLA troop support. And we'll learn more about that as we go into today's presentation. Now, as far as the chain of command, as you can see, the DLA is kind of here, and it rolls up, and they report directly to the Assistant Secretary of War for sustainment. All right. And so this is kind of the chain of command, but everything goes back to the chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So that's kind of where the DLA is within the pecking order as far as the org chart within the U.S. military, the Department of War. All right. So that's where the DLA resides. And as far as those supply chains, the major subordinate commands, these supply chains is kind of where you can get involved, because I get a lot of folks reaching out and saying, hey, how do we sell to the DLA? What do we sell? Well, this annual report highlights what the DLA cares about, like how they're structured. And they basically subsistence, they buy food. So think about anything food. That rolls up to DLA troop support, by the way. Clothing and textiles. This is another supply chain within the DLA. So anything you can think that goes on the soldier's body, from uniforms, body armor, helmets, footwear, and other individual equipment for all services goes through clothing and textiles subordinate supply chain. And this rolls up through the DLA's troop support subordinate command as well. Then we got DLA energy supply chain, which is the fuel and comprehensive energy solutions. Then we got construction and equipment. They also buy construction and equipment. Yes. So if you're thinking about like the John Deere or the Caterpillar or the Kubota, earth moving equipment that you may see along the highway when you're driving up and down the highway here in the United States. But if you can kind of think of that on the global scale, where the U.S. military has activities where they have to move earth, construction and equipment is where they're buying those spare parts from. So again, it talks about construction equipment and materials, barrier materials, and special operations equipment, commercial equipment. All right, so that rolls up to DLA troop support as well. So again, DLA troop support. All right, and DLA medical. DLA medical and surgical equipment, pharmaceuticals and vaccines. So if let's say you're in the pharmaceutical realm and you have one of those DEA licenses and you're able to get your hands on to serums and things like that, you may be able to find an opportunity to sell those types of products. Let's say if you're working directly with Pfizer or some of those big medical pharmaceutical companies, that the DLA could be a potential customer for you as well. DLA, this medical supply chain rolls up into DLA troop support as well. And then we got the aviation systems hardware, repair parts for aviation systems. Again, we talked about that earlier. DLA aviation, land systems hardware, repair parts for land systems. So keep in mind, they're talking about parts, repair parts. So we're talking about items that you can get off the shelf, spark plugs, things of that nature, fasteners, rivets, things that they use to, like when they overhaul military assets that are still active, because these are mechanical devices, so they have to be overhauled in order to make sure that they can perform the way they should perform, to fly as high as they can, and to do what they do on the ground and on the sea and under the sea. All right. the maritime systems hardware. They're buying repair parts for maritime systems, submarines and carriers and frigates and all that good stuff. All right, strategic materials. So the national defense stockpile for critical materials and defense applications. So the DLA does buy raw materials. They buy steel. They buy iron ore. They buy anything that would help support the U.S. military, and they have stockpiles of this type of material ready in case of war, right? And so the DLA does have a division that focuses on strategic materials. So if you are if you're able to do castings, or you're into material, like foundries or anything of that nature, there may be opportunities for your organization to support the DLA through the strategic materials supply chain. All right, cool. So that's kind of just a very, very high level of what the DLA buys, what they're involved in, and how that's all broken up into this big spin. All right. So this next chart that I'm going to show you is going to talk a little bit about what I call it the show me the money. All right. So like, what is this all about? We're trying to make some money here as DLA vendors supporting the industrial base for the DLA. All right. And the DLA is very, very keen on its suppliers. They're so keen that they last year, as far as the fiscal year 2025, they issued $55.8 billion in total contract obligations. All right. So a contract obligation is basically that's kind of like, hey, we're going to do this with these particular companies. And the contract obligations also include the IDIQ contracts, the indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts. So for those of you who are getting some of those IDI contracts, because our company, we receive the IDI contracts as well, it's kind of like a way for them to freeze some budget for the future, saying that when the demand and warfighter comes calling, they'll have a vendor in line under contract in order to support and deliver those products and services through by way of task orders. All right. So if you kind of think 55.8 billion, that's a huge number as it relates to one particular command within the U.S. government. Now, this makes up about 11% of the total Department of War's annual budget. So it's not a huge chunk, but as it relates to percentages, but as it relates to small businesses getting involved and getting a piece of the pie, this is major, because out of that 55.8 billion, about 80% of that is earmarked to who? Small businesses. So the DLA is a very small business centric organization to get involved with. Now, within that 55.8 billion in obligations, the actual booked revenue, meaning money exchanging hands, was 51.8 billion. So that's the number that I really care about. So the DLA is up probably $2 billion from 2024 to what they're doing, what they've done last year. So that means there is an increase in demand. There is a need that's increasing. The appetite is growing as it relates to the DLA's booked revenue numbers. And a lot of that money is directly coming from the U.S. The services, that we're talking about, the Army, Navy, and the Air Force, as well as other all of government federal agencies that lean on the DLA for product support. All right, now, with all that said, the industrial base is the foundation. So let me go ahead and go back over to the annual report, because I just wanted to kind of give you just like an overview of what this annual report's all about. We're going to go ahead and switch to page 11. So when we're talking about show me the money, this is the DLA's fiscal year 2025 financial overview. All right, so basically the thing that really caught my eye were these two in the center here. We got the total contract obligations, 55.8 billion, includes the IDIQ contracts. And you can see how this pie is cut up into the different major subordinate commands. So we got DLA Troop Support, DLA Energy, DLA Aviation, DLA Distribution, DLA Disposition Services, DLA Land and Maritime, and DLA Contracting Services Office, the DCSO. But out of this 55.8 billion, you can see the lion's share, like this half of the pie, is earmarked to the tune of $26.2 billion to who? DLA Troop Support. So for those of you who are new to the DLA and you're just trying to figure out which subordinate command should you be supporting, I recommend that you take a look at what the DLA Troop Support is all about, because they got the biggest piece of the bag as it relates to providing contracting opportunities with the DLA. All right. And then next, but not next in line, in my opinion, you want to take a look at DLA Aviation and DLA Land and Maritime, because DLA Aviation is about 10.3 billion. DLA Land and Maritime is 6.39 billion. So DLA Troop Support, DLA Aviation, and DLA Land and Maritime, those are the three top commands that I would highly recommend that you learn a little bit more about, and you try to figure a lane for your organization to get involved in supporting these agencies, or these, I should say, these commands. Now, out of that 55.8 billion, now we got 51.8 billion in booked revenues. That means that's contracts that were closed, money changed hands, the DLA gets paid, the DLA then pays you. All right. So you may say, well, how is that? How are they getting paid? Why do they consider that revenue? The DLA, in my opinion, operates sort of like a Home Depot. So if you can imagine a Home Depot on crack, right? So the DLA is Home Depot. And so they're working with the industrial base, who are we, the vendors, and we are lining those shelves. And guess who the ultimate customer is? The U.S. military and all of government agencies that come and go shopping in the DLA's Home Depot. All right. So when they go shopping and they actually pull something off the shelf there, they pay the DLA for that particular product. And then once the DLA gets paid, we get paid. So it's kind of like that. That's how the system works. And that's why they break it up in from a contract obligation versus a contract revenue. All right. Or revenues, I should say, book revenues. Now, within this slide as well, which I really like, is that they focus in on the defense industrial base support. So I keep saying this over and over in today's presentation, because there are approximately 8,500 or so small businesses that are registered to do business with the DLA. So within the DIBBS, the DLA's internet bidboard system, 8,500 vendors, right? Keep that in mind. To me, that's a really small number. Not a whole lot of competition here. 8,500 registered vendors, and they are basically awarding $51.8 billion worth of, there's a bucket of money that can be spread to all these vendors. Now, of the 8,500 vendors that are registered, not all of these vendors are making money. I can tell you that. A lot of companies get registered and never even bid on contracts. That's why it's important to have a bidding strategy that we're going to be talking about closed circuit here in today's closed circuit training. So if I have any Patreon members or brigadier generals that are out there, feel free to go to the respective platforms, click on the community forum tab, and in the community forum tab, you're going to have a link that's dedicated for your mouse clicks and your eyes only, to have you click the link that'll bring you over here into StreamYard. Because right now I don't have any brigadier generals or Patreon members in my waiting room, and typically once I get that, that's my sign, my signal to close out on today's live stream and move more towards the closed circuit training. So again, if you're interested in meeting us over here in StreamYard, feel free to look at the link that's pinned in the comment section, that you can upgrade your subscription in order to meet us over here in StreamYard today. We'll be going until approximately about 1 o'clock today to answer and field any questions that you may have. If you have solicitations that you're going after, if you got a big issue, a contract issue, and then you don't know exactly how to solve, I am the guy that you can reach out to in the closed circuit training to get your answers to those questions done today. And you'll be part of a fantastic community within the DLA Vendor Network as well. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there. But back to the annual report. So again, 8,500 vendors, very, very small number of vendors that are supporting the DLA. And 80% of these vendors, or again, of the awarded contracts, were to small businesses. And so that is fantastic to know that we are getting a lot of action as it relates to doing business with the DLA. We're not competing directly with the Boeings of the world or the Northrop Grummans or these really large organizations. They really like the small mom and pop shops that can have a specialized focus on being nimble to move about and help the DLA meet all the terms and conditions of those particular contract obligations. All right. So that's why I think the DLA loves small businesses. A lot of the big companies say, hey, DLA, your requirements are just a little, a little too streamlined for us, and there's not enough money in it for us. So that's why I think the small business community has a way of capitalizing on these opportunities. All right. Now, as far as contract awards, there were 3.9 million orders last year. And if you kind of take the number of days in the number of business days in the year and divide it by 3.9 million, that's roughly 10,700 contracts awarded every single day. So almost 11,000 contracts were awarded every single business day that the DLA was awarding contracts last year. And at any given moment, the DLA has over 100,000 solicitations that are open for bid on their internet bid board system. This is just a fantastic opportunity for you guys to get involved, because guess what? There are a lot of contracts that don't go awarded with the DLA. They do have a huge growing list of non-awards because there are just no vendors that are positioned to meet the DLA where they need to be met, whether they're custom manufactured products, machine shops, precision machining, or commercial off-the-shelf products. Because the DLA, again, they don't always buy 1,000 hammers at a time. Sometimes they only need 2 or 3 hammers at a time. So a lot of vendors, don't bid on those types of contracts. And so that's just a great way to get involved as a small business who is interested in government contracting, because guess what? If you're getting those really small contracts where you're not making a ton of money, because again, the DLA is not a get rich quick scheme. It's a marathon to you building a government contracting business. So if you're going after these low hanging fruit, smaller contracts where people are like, nah, it's not big enough for me, you're bidding in them and winning. And a lot of my students bid those and win those. What you're doing is gaining experience, you're gaining past performance, and all that goes underneath your belt as it relates to your company's registration with SAM.gov. Underneath your UEI and your cage code, you can take that. That's performance that you can now apply when you're going after service-based contracts, or those multi-million-dollar contracts where you're like, I want to bid this, and they always ask for past performance, and I don't have any. Guess what? The DLA is a great customer for you to begin to gain federal contracting past performance. Highly, highly recommended for you guys to get involved. It's just the upside is just tremendous as it relates to this. All right, cool. And let me go back over to my slide here. Hey, I got a few, these aren't really comments per se. I got some guy put in here, it says LinkedIn users, so I'm not exactly sure they are. They say DMV, not exactly sure. Hopefully they meant the DLA Vendor Network, DVN. But hey, if you got any comments, feel free to drop comments or questions in the chat there. I'll be filling this because I am getting close to the end of my presentation. Looks like we got 7 concurrent viewers in the building. How many likes? It doesn't show me. They used to show me how many likes I got. But hey, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button so it stokes the YouTube algorithm so it can kind of get my message out to a broader audience. It doesn't cost you anything, and it means a ton to me, especially if you like what the DLA Guru is cooking over here. All right. Also, the DLA mission, who they support, U.S. military and all of the government. I keep kind of talking a little bit about that in today's presentation, right? So let's go ahead and do a little dive into what that's all about. And on page 37 of this particular, let me go ahead and scroll down to 37. You can see it's 38 pages in this annual report, and I don't want to go through all these slides, but it tells you I highly recommend that you guys pull it. As a matter of fact, let me get to page 37, and I think this is a good time to drop in the chat for those of you who've been hanging around. You're like, hey, you're gonna give us the link? Yeah, I'm gonna give you the link. I always deliver on what I say I'm gonna do. So in the chat there, for you guys hanging out with me, that is the reward. This gets you over to, just click that link and you can download to your phone or to your laptop, however you're looking at the content today, and you can download a copy of the annual report, and then you can kind of go through it as you want. And let's see here. Let's get back to the actual annual report, page 37. Okay, so within this, and we're talking about the DLA's mission, who they support, who are their customers, who is shopping in the Home Depot of the DLA. And the DLA supports, as you can see on the screen here from the annual report, they cover the entire 50 states, and they support over 40, well, it says here 40 federal agencies, 360 local agencies, and 129 international partners. And so if you kind of think about NATO, the 28 countries that are with, it was 32 countries in NATO, 28 of them are actually recognized by the DLA as far as doing business with the DLA. So if you can kind of think, the DLA has a large kind of spread. There are other clients that you can that contract the DLA that you can also support by way of doing business with the DLA. And some of those 40 federal agencies that they have highlighted here, we got the U.S. Coast Guard, we got the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they're showing you how much revenue that is these particular federal agencies were buying out of DLA Home Depot, right? And then we also got NASA to the tune of $24.6 million worth of business was done with the DLA through NASA. We got the United States Forest Service, $103 million. The VA, $121 million worth of business was done by the VA with the DLA. We got the Defense Health Agency. We got the Department of Health and Human Services. Again, that troop support, DLA Medical. Yeah, DLA Medical is not only just supporting the U.S. military, they're supporting other federal agencies that buy medical products, right? We got the Defense Security Cooperation Agency, the DSCA. These are agencies that I'm not even familiar with. There's a new name there. Looks like $1.7 billion was spent with the Defense Security Cooperation Agency. DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, $520 million. So you kind of think about, the uniforms and the protective gear and, the batons and, the holsters, weapons, whatever they're needing in order to make sure that those federal agencies are outfitted with the right products to do their jobs. They knock on the door of the DLA to help them with that. And the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we're talking about the subsistence programs that the DLA has. Yes, they have to feed not only the soldiers, but hey, farmers are benefiting from activities with the DLA as well. All right. And this is not only just in the United States, this is from a global perspective. So these federal agencies are supporting or have a footprint globally. The DLA is there. All right. So again, out of that $51.8 billion of book revenue, 11.2 billion was through these all of government agencies. So the DLA is just a very interesting organization. They've been around about 64 years or so, around that, as far as supporting the U.S. military and as far as a federal agency. So in my opinion, they're still a fairly young agency, and they're just finding ways to continue their value add proposition in the federal supply chain. And they do that by working with clients or working with vendors like us who are part of the industrial base. All right. So that's what I really, really love about learning more about the DLA and the reason to get involved. Now, you may be saying, all right, sounds great. And guess what? The DLA Guru, all about value. So I have put together, and we've had a ton of small businesses that have taken advantage of my 360-degree DLA contractor training program. My motto is there are many ways to skin the cat. Of course, you can go out there, figure it out on your own, and just not invest in yourself or in training programs that might help you. So again, there are more ways, more than one way to skin the cat, but some ways you don't get scratched. And one way that I have helped a lot of vendors not get scratched is through my 360-degree training program. What that entails is you have the pre-award masterclass. And again, I have 3 components that are part of the 360 degrees. So I kind of give you that full circumference of how to be successful coming out the gate to do business with the DLA. So I have my pre-award masterclass, which is my 8 steps to successful federal supply contract bid submissions to the DLA. And this comprehensive training program is packed full of videos and content and real life ways to build a framework, a structure around setting your business up on DIBBS, and then how to go out to the vendor, to I guess collect vendors, I should say, and partner with vendors in order to position yourself to bid on DLA solicitations. And again, how to find the solicitations that align with the vendor base that you're building around, whether any of those supply chains that you will be interested in supporting. The pre-award masterclass will give you the framework to get you started there, as well as the post-award masterclass. It's my 4 steps to general post-award processes to successfully complete federal supply contract with the DLA. It's action-packed in this particular post-award masterclass because it's going to teach you how to bag and tag and properly ship components to all the DLA depots that are part of your terms and conditions of those DLA contracts, as well as to invoice the DLA, because you got to know how to invoice the government in order to get paid timely. You got to check the right boxes. If you don't check the right box, then hey, it goes into storage room B, and you got to do a lot of rework, and that just means delays, delays, and delays. So the post-award masterclass kind of helps to make sure that you don't fall into any traps there. And my third part of the 360-degree training program is the 4 steps to fast track your enhanced JCP certification, also known as the DEV, the DLA's Enhanced Validation System for non-classified controlled technical documents. So if you're wanting to get into the custom manufacturing components side of the business, you will have to be EJCP certified in order to have access to those engineering drawings that your manufacturers who have the milling machines and the CNC machines and the lathes and whatnot, where they can do the metalworking and precision machining practices in order to build those products to spec, or to, as they say in the engineers world, build to print. All right. And you'll have to be EJCP certified. So you'll get access to all 3 of these training programs in the 360-degree training program. Highly recommend you take a look at it. You can find it at the DLAGuru.com. You can see on the screen there. Just go to that website, and you will find access to these training programs, and you'll get even more information. You can do a pre-registration. Don't even have to swipe your credit card. Pre-register on that site. Then you'll have access to some dedicated videos that outline exactly what the deliverables will be out of each one of those training programs. So you'll know exactly what you're getting yourself involved with before you actually invest in those training programs. And last but not least, for a lot of my seasoned DLA vendors who are just interested in scaling their businesses, that is bringing on employees, because you have to have butts and seats to really be effective in doing business with the DLA. And I offer my interactive DLA contractor training program. You get 12 sessions, deep dive with yours truly every single week. We're going to be meeting one-on-one on Zoom. And you have, I think you can have up to 5 employees on those calls where they can just pick my brain. I just pull my cap off and pour into it. And there is a very structured training curriculum that comes along with the interactive DLA contracting program. So you can find information about all of this on www.thedlaguru.com. All right. Highly recommend that you guys take a look at that. All right. We are getting to the end because we have one of our Patreon members that has entered the building. And so again, best strategies to win DLA contracts for fiscal year 2026. Highly recommend that you gain access to training. If it's not my training programs, that are other DLA contractors that are out there in these YouTube streets that are promoting consulting and training services, I say, hey, go take a look at everyone and figure out what makes you most comfortable and get involved, get trained. No sense in you scratching yourself trying to skin the cat when folks are out here who have done it and say, do it this way. Here's a framework, and you don't get a lot of pain along the way. Now, it's no guarantee that you're going to win anything, but at least you get a framework so that you won't get scratched in the way that a lot of times vendors do. All right, because there are some risk to doing things wrong with the DLA, meaning being banned from the DLA and getting in trouble with the DLA and things of that nature. So our training programs are designed to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. And of course, through the DLA Vendor Network, you'll have opportunities to network, to join us over here at StreamYard when we do our closed circuit training. Highly recommend you get involved there, as well as mentorship. I'm all about supporting businesses that get involved. You invest in me, I'm going to invest a ton back in you and supporting what I'm trying to do in my life as it relates to building a consulting business around supporting businesses to inspire you for success. Now, the best way I think to get involved and to kind of connect with me is over on where? LinkedIn. Yes, you want to connect over on LinkedIn. You can find me by just searching at the DLA Guru on screen on LinkedIn. We're building a huge community of dedicated business professionals. I think the LinkedIn space is the best way for you to do that. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Make sure you have a profile that shows your pearly whites, all your educational accolades, your business, what you're all about, so that we can invite you into our invite-only community on LinkedIn, where it's all about DLA vendors collaborating and working together. It's kind of like a filtered community, so you know that everyone in there is all about the business. All right. So it's just a great place to get involved. And if you're interested, if you're old school like me, if you're a 70s baby or beyond, and you're interested in talking with me on the phone, I offer a 15-minute pre-screening phone call. Yes, old school is in the house. Sometimes skin to skin is the best way of getting it done. And I do provide a way for you to access me And you can connect with me through the 15-minute pre-screening phone call by way of my website, DLAGuru.com. If you go there, you'll get to this landing page. You'll see me and my pearly whites there. And there's a button at the very top of the page where you can reserve your consult now in order to book a 15-minute pre-screening phone call. What we'll be doing at the 15-minute pre-screening phone call, getting to know a little bit about you, where you are in your business journey, if I believe any of my training programs can support you, if the DLA even would be, in my opinion, a good customer. And if I don't believe so, I will be candid and let you know, hey, I don't think the DLA will be a good customer for you. So it's just a good way for you to kind of break the ice in talking to the DLA guru. Yes, you will talk directly with me, not any of my staff. You'll be talking directly to yours truly, the DLA guru. All right. So that's just a way that you can get involved as well. And let's see here. Yes, last but not least, joining my members only training. I think it's very important. I just keep reiterating that you got to be able to join training programs and get involved and do your thing there. All right. In closing, as you guys know, I like to end all of my live streams with what the DLA's motto, warfighter always. So you didn't think that I made it up. This is on their actual, the last page of their annual report. You can see how they are all about the warfighter always. Think not what you can do think not what the DLA can do for you or what the warfighter can do for you. Think instead of what you can do for the warfighter. If you have that mindset, my friends, you will be very, very successful in doing business with the world's largest customer, the Defense Logistics Agency. So I want to thank you again for watching. Thanks for hanging out with the DLA Guru on this very cold Saturday morning here in the United States. And if you're interested in reaching out to me and you just want to talk one-on-one, you want a contracted consultation, you don't want to get into the public space and you kind of want the one-on-one, feel free to shoot me an email. As you can see on the screen, fed.contracting@nmsupply.com. That's the best way that you can reach out to me and let me know kind of what your issue is. And then I'll be able to get you what you need. And of course, as you can see in the scrolling marquee down there below my chin, if you're just so compelled and you got so much value out of today's live stream, I'm doing this live. This isn't pre-recorded. This isn't edited. This is on the fly because I know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to this type of doing business with this customer. Feel free to give me a little love. You can see on the scrolling marquee, I accept Cash Apps, Venmo. You can buy me a coffee, whatever that hits your heart, because your support, just $1 a day, it keeps the doctor away. Not an apple, but $1 a day keeps the doctor away. And I definitely appreciate the support that you guys have been giving me. And by all means, my friends, until we meet again, hey, I'll see you at the top.